guys, what's up and welcome back to another video. So we're gonna get some other things done today. I hope I can get some stuff done today, but I want to show you what I did so far. So I did take one of the heads apart and I wanted to check out all the valve seats and everything else. Everything looks really nice inside here. Seats all look really good. Valves are all nice and clean, nice and straight. Look at how big these valves are. These are nice and monstrous. These are the 799 heads. So taking all the factory springs out, getting these things ready to put the new springs in. These are the ones that came along with the Little John Stage 1 twin turbo kit. I believe these are like 660 lift springs, dual springs. So my spring compressor that I'm using now isn't really going to work for these guys. So that's kind of crappy. But this is just one of the cheap, like O'Reilly's or AutoZone one. So I did order the other kind, but check these out. These look perfectly fine. So I'm pretty happy about these heads. They look really good. $7.99 heads, and I got them for a little over 200 bucks. So pretty pumped about that. And I'm really resisting my urge to make a spring compressor. So I had some scrap metal out, and I was thinking about making one of the spring compressors, but I did buy one of the like $50-something dual valve spring compressors. So I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait a couple days, and I'm not gonna make one. Even though I really feel like making one, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna just start pulling the other head apart. I'll show you how the other valve spring compressor works if you're interested in that thing and haven't used one. I have used that one before to do the Pack 1218 springs, and it works very well for that. Taking them out, putting them back in, and this compressor is only like $10 or something like that. So the reason this one doesn't work is it just has these little tiny lips on here that just grab the outer lip of the spring, but this one I'm not able to get it to work, or I haven't been able to get it to work. I tried it a couple times and it just flew apart. So instead of sitting here fighting with this thing and continuing to try it, I'm just gonna get a better version of the compressor. But this thing does work very well if you're a little bit patient and just have a single coil spring, or these beehive type springs like the 1218s. These are the factory ones. But alrighty boys, let's get started on these. Move these things into the shot. I want to show you the ego trip that these plugs are having here. This one I already cracked loose. So we'll loosen this one up a little bit. Check this one out. This one's a freshie. They are in there pretty tight. It's probably, a lot of it's probably just the angle that I'm working at too. Because it's like up at like chest level. So they're a little tight in there. But even after I crack them loose, they're like pretty tough to get out. And I posted a picture of this on my 821 Bravo YouTube page the other day. Check this out. This is when I did the first head. Freaking snapped my little bit. My little 3/8 drive for my impact. I'm sure that little guy was just on its way out anyways. I said that a couple times, but I think it was just on its way out. Finally took a crap on spark plugs of all things. But these things got, you know, the normal typical rust, corrosion junk on there on the plug. This is one of the other ones I got out. So just the typical stuff. These were actually junkyard heads. So we'll go through and crack the rest of these loose, and then we'll take the other valves out. I don't have another little 3/8 drive that fits into my impact. A little zippy dippy, so I can't even zip these out. What a sad day. What a sad day. I'm gonna have to get some more of those. Now that you guys finally got yelled at me enough to actually use power tools on stuff about a year ago, I can't live without them now. Yeah, those are tough to get out all the way out. A lot of times, like even on the truck or other vehicles have done, once you crack them loose, they should just come out. These guys had a change of plans. They had a different idea for what was going on in their day. So I'll show you this ring compressor here. Not ring compressor, spring compressor. Forgot a letter. So this is just these OEM branded ring compressors. And they work pretty decent. I actually don't really have that much of a beef with these things. They actually work pretty good, I think. They're a little tricky, but once you get them going, now this will be completely miserable because I'm talking about how easy it is. So what I like to do is just get them. Maybe I should do a closer one. Let's use our big brain here. This one's a good one. Trying to figure out the camera angle here. Good? Yeah. So what I like to do is back the threads off. What I like to do is back the threads out, and then you can kind of pivot this thing around so it actually grabs underneath one of the coils on the spring. And then I'll just tighten it down by hand. And then at that point it kind of holds itself on. And then you can use a socket that goes over the top of it, or you can just put the 3/8" drive in there. And what I like to do is hold like this. So when I first start to tighten it, I'll hold at the bottom to kind of get the threads going and get some tension on the spring. But after that, then I'll hold right here. And it actually pulls the springs up pretty nice. And then if you have a magnet available, I usually just use the magnet to pull the keepers out. And then you can pull the spring off. So this magnet is a little bit big, but it works okay. You get it at the right angle. So then you can see that's all that thing does. It just grabs on the bottom side of the spring, pulls it out, pushes these down, compresses them, and then now I can just take it and back this off. So it'll become loose enough. So like I said, when I first grab them and I tighten it, I'll squeeze down here just so it gets, you can feel that it's actually tight and it holds the windings. And then you can just hold onto this part and then twist it. Works pretty good. So now I'll just undo it, relieve the tension on the spring. Spring will come out. And set the tool off to the side. And what I'll do here now is I'm going to set the springs up and kind of divide the valves and everything, because I'm going to have both sets of valves out. And I'm just going to keep them like this. So for this one, I'm probably going to leave this one in for now. But basically next I'll just lift the head up and then slide the valve out like that. What I usually like to check is the valve shiny all the way around the seat? If there's a bunch of crap built up on the seat, that could be an issue. So this one actually looks really good. And I'll clean the stem off. What you can do is roll them around like this, and you can see if they're bent. I know these are all good because we checked them with fluid before I bought them. So the guy that sold them to me actually checked them with fluid. He flipped them upside down, checked them for leaks with fluid. So you can check them this way fill the chamber with fluid, see if it leaks, and you'll be able to see it either leak out of the exhaust or the intake port. And then you can also check them like this through the intake ports, and then watch the valves, see if they leak. Or you could do it this way, check them through the exhaust ports, and then same thing, fill them with fluid and then watch and see if they leak. And you could even, I've done it before, where I'll fill them up, balance it, fill it up, and then go in the house for 20 minutes and then see if anything leaks out. So if it doesn't leak, then you know you're good. That's what we did with these, or that's what he did with these before he sold them to me. So I was pretty happy about that. Not a lot of people actually take the time to do that stuff before they sell you things. They're just like, oh, it's good, but they don't really want to take the time to prove it to you. So he actually did that, and I thought that was really cool. The value of an honest seller, you can't really beat that. And then it takes a lot of questions out. So what I'm going to do now, I just put that one back in because I'm going to go through this way, and then I'm going to line up all the intake and exhaust valves together. So just like I did over here, you can see that I have them lined up, intake and exhaust from this way to this way, right to left, and then we have intake, exhaust, intake, exhaust, intake, exhaust, intake, exhaust, and that's basically what I'm doing here. Intake, exhaust, intake, exhaust. So I know exactly which way they go back in, so the right valves are going back into the right holes. And then I'm also going to be taking out the valve stem seals, because I'm going to be replacing those also, because the dual springs have a different seal. And one thing, if you're doing this with, this might be a lot of repetition for you guys that know all this stuff already, so excuse me, but if you're replacing factory valve stem seals, or you're doing like Pac 1218 springs, the Pac 1218s are pretty similar to this beehive style, so they actually look pretty close, but you'll be able to use these same valve stem seals. And if you do, I don't know how easy you can see it on the video, but you can see that this one has a little red tint to it, and then this one is black around the top. So there's actually two different designs. There's one for the intake and one for the exhaust. So the black is for the intake, and then the red is for the exhaust valve stem. So if you're replacing those, that's what those would be. So now I'll show you this, kind of do it in real time, just so you guys can see how miserable or easy, or whatever you guys want to call it, whatever you feel like it is. It's really a matter of opinion. I don't really mind using this thing, so it actually works pretty decent. So I'm just going to hook it around as low as I can get it, and then, like I said before, if you can't get it in the way that you want it, pivot it until you can get it on there. And I'm going to tighten this up until it snags, and then I can just grab, I'll try to do it with my opposite hand so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just holding this section now, and you'll see it kind of loosen up on the keepers. And then I'm just going to go through with this magnet that's too big, pull one keeper out. Sometimes I can grab the other one right away. There, now the keeper's out, valve spring comes out. And sometimes I don't even drop that thing out of my hand, but I'm going to drop the keepers all in the same pile, and then we'll take this thing and just kind of loosen it and take it out. It's actually pretty painless. And it seems like this thing will kind of fly apart pretty easily, but I haven't ever had that happen. I think some of it may be because I'm like that. You can see it was kind of loose after I loosened it up, of course. But as long as you keep this thing pressed tight together against the spring when you put the tension on it, I've never had it actually pop off. It's never really been a problem, at least from to my experience. So then again, I'll just lean the head forward, pop the valve out. So then here you have the valve. There's the first intake valve. The intake valves are always going to be bigger than the exhaust valves. And then sometimes you can take these just like that and pull the valve stem seal right out. Like that one just popped right out. That was actually pretty easy. Sometimes I actually have to use a wrench and grab it, or a pliers I should say, and grab it and pull it off. So I'll grab another one. Again, we'll do it in real time. I'll try to do it without being as showy on the camera. And we'll see how long it really takes if you want to kind of do it a little bit quicker. Now I'll fight with the, oh, that one took both the keepers out at the same time. So that one wasn't too bad. Flip it over. Oh. So that one didn't really fly out, it was just loose enough. So that wasn't like spring tension that popped out, I just loosened it up enough that it actually fell out. So we'll see if we can pull this one off. Let me pull the valve out and see if it comes out easier without the valve in. So now this one's tight, so this will be a good example of what I need to do. Now I won't be able to find the pliers I was using, of course. So we'll use the Gerber grabber. There we go. So I'm not really going to use these, but just be careful pulling them out. So it's really all there is to it. I don't think this thing is so bad. One thing I don't necessarily like about this little tool though is you can see all the wear inside there, and it's just metal on metal. So you could probably lube it up and be a little more careful than I am. So see, I just wiped that thing and now it's all a bunch of like metal goo on there. So that would be one concern if you wanted to be concerned about it. But I will also add that I have been doing this, or I have done this, I should say, in the past with an impact. So that could be definitely a contributor to why it's all galled up. So I could see maybe if you use the right kind of lube and you didn't use an impact and you just did it by hand, why it would be maybe in better condition. But like I said, done it both ways. I don't really have a problem with it either way, but it does start to show some signs of wear, and could possibly, if you were trying to do it really cleanly, it could quite possibly not be as clean as you wanted, because there is some metal dust. So I did have some goo on here that was preventing the dust from falling. So 2 points for me. I don't know if it was oil. I might have actually used some lubricant on it at one point, but I can't remember. It was a while ago since I used this thing last. So yeah, so this one, oh, and I cranked it down really far. These keepers came out pretty easy. One other thing I'll show you guys in a little bit. A really good, or maybe I don't need to show you, I can just tell you about it. Another thing that I like to do sometimes if I need a magnet for stuff like this, a small magnet, is I buy just the small like neodymium just magnets, the small ones. So I do buy those a lot, or I should say I have bought a bunch of them at one point. I'll just go get them. I'll I'll edit this, hold on. So I have a bunch of these stacks of just neomagnets that I've used for other projects and stuff. And these things work really good for, you know, like grabbing things like this. They work especially well when I was doing the 4L80 transmission rebuild for like grabbing the check balls out of the valve body circuit. So that's really cool. And I'll show you what I actually use these for a lot on my refrigerator. So I do something like this. We have them just like random all over the refrigerator. And we just hang stuff on them. So like the keys. Oh, it's not gonna work now. But hold on, let's be smart. The leverage is working against us when we're trying to show off our new skills. So we'll do something like this. So we got the neomagnets on the fridge. And we just, when we get home, we just slap the keys on the fridge like that with the neomagnets. So we got a bunch of these things around. I've used them for you know, other stuff, cool projects. Made a generator out of a ceiling fan. I actually have a video about that if you guys are interested in that. But so I'll show you the neomagnet method after this. I'm gonna pull this valve out. This big old intake valve. Intake valve. These valves look really nice. Really nice and clean. I'm pretty pumped with how these are looking. The exhaust valves, they're dirty. They're like a typical exhaust valve, but they don't really have a whole lot of buildup on the seats or anything like that. I thought about doing you guys can tell me if you really want to see it, like a valve lapping video. Last time I did springs, a lot of people were asking about a valve lapping video, and I feel like I might do one. I'm going to be waiting on some other parts for a couple days. I probably have the time right now to do it. So if you guys are super duper interested in a valve lapping video, I would do one just for the sake of the video. But if you're not, then I'm not really overly ambitious about it. I wouldn't mind doing it just to do it, but so now we'll get this thing nice and tight, and then I'll use the neomagnets. Boink! Boink! Yep. See how easy that was? So it's a lot easier than the, you know, this big head that I got. I got a bunch of different sizes of these magnets too. So sometimes they make your life super duper easy. But be careful if you have kids around them. So that was always one concern that we had. Because we have a whole bunch of kids. We have 3 kids, young age. Our oldest is 7. Youngest is 2. So just be careful with them. Don't be dumb and like leave them lay around the house, because kids like to eat these things, and they can eat them, and then they can swallow them, and then they start to, you know, get stuck together inside their body, and they can actually pinch things inside their digestive tract, which isn't good. And holy crap, this turned into a very depressing video awfully quickly. Safety first, kids. All right. What else can we ramble about? What do you guys want to ramble about? Should be doing a live stream while I'm doing this. Would have been a good idea. But nobody likes me that much, right? What do you guys think? So yeah, we're almost done with this, and this has been not even that long. So the whole shebang is really quick. I haven't even had any, and I thought it was going to be that one right there. I haven't had any that got stuck. Sometimes you'll get the valves that they get stuck, like they're stuck in the keepers, and they don't want to crack loose from the top. And sometimes you got to take like a dead blow or a mallet or something and give them a little boink just to crack them loose, because they've been sitting for so long. This one's actually, I feel like this is really clean, so I haven't really had any issue with it. So now we have, I might be able to show you guys a good example of this now, because I haven't been taking the valve seals out. So that one came out. That one's not coming out. That one's loose. So the intake seals came out nice. But I think these two exhaust, I'd say just be careful if you're gonna reuse these seals. I'm not reusing these seals, so I'm kind of just using a pretty brutal tool to really yank these things out. But if you wanted to be a little bit more careful and use a better tool, do that. But yes, I'm going to be reusing them. So you can see now, after just doing this a couple times, how much dust, oops, how much dusted and crap is on there, just from doing this a few times. So that could be a concern with this thing if you're actually trying to build like a really nice motor. But I guess, to be fair, I'm not really seeing anything that's getting dropped in. So I guess it's really at your own discretion and what are you comfortable with. Everyone has a little bit of a different level of comfort. Some things that I do might make you cringe, and some things that you do might make me cringe. So what is your comfort level? What is your goal? What do you want to do? How many friends do you have, and who are you going to tell about it? I guess those are the big concerns, because if you don't have any friends and nobody's going to know, I mean, you can really get away with a lot more stuff. You can get away with a lot. And that's how you make friends. You just don't tell anybody what you actually did. And then you show up and then you're like doing something that nobody would have expected. And then everybody wants to be your friend because you did what they were all afraid to do. So let's get this other one out. Let's just do it all in one video. How about that? Get the rest of my life story out of the way. 5'9", long walks on the beach in Wisconsin in July, not January. Get the other one out and see how much quicker that is versus the other ones using those magnets. Alright, so this is, like I said, this tool, it works pretty well. You can see I did a bunch of them. I did them pretty quick. Didn't really have any issues with the thing like popping out, falling apart, doing anything weird. Sometimes you could maybe get them in there goofy and the thing's gonna pop out, but it's not really that much of an issue. Not really that big of a concern. So we'll take the other intake valve out, exhaust valve out, and good to go. So what I'm probably going to do, and what I was using this towel before when I tried to compress the first spring with that compressor and it didn't really work, I'm just going to bunch it up. So like I'll take the intake valve. Maybe I'll grab one from a closer one. So I'll grab the intake valve, stick it back in, and then I'm just going to shove this towel underneath it. That's what I'm going to do, just to kind of lift the valve up. Valve doesn't move, and then I'll be able to compress it without really causing any issues. So that's how I'm going to hold the valve up. Nice and cheap method. So that's pretty much that, guys. Let me know what you think. Nice and easy way. This is the cheapest compressor that I think you can find at a local parts store, and it works pretty well. And like I said, I've used that one before when I did Pack 1218 springs. It works really nice for compressing everything, getting the keepers in. Everything works really well. it's going to be a little bit challenging. It's not going to really work with the dual springs. But if you didn't want to spend the 50 to, some of them are like over $100 for the nice dual compressors, dual spring compressors. I'll show you guys that when I do it. We'll do it in another video. I think I'm going to end it here. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment, subscribe, tell your friends, show your mom, feed your dog, be a good human being. Don't hurt people, don't hate people. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.